What's up, everybody? And today we're checking out the most brutal A-10 Warthog combat footage ever recorded. This is by a YouTube channel called Battle Log that I've never seen before, actually. There are 8.06 thousand subscribers, so not many, so I'm going to leave a link down below to the original video. Let's send some love over there. Let's get them some support. Let's subscribe to their channel. Let's boost them up a little bit more, shall we? But this is going to be fun. It's like 20 minutes of just footage from the A-10 Warthog. What's not to love about something like that? So I'm going to sit back, relax, get your chug, fill your chug with a nice crisp pint on a, what is it, Saturday or Sunday? When's this video going out? Saturday or Sunday? I don't know. It's the weekend. It's the weekend. Get yourself a chug, 10% off, link down below. You're not going to get a better deal anywhere else, and they are selling like crazy. So get them. They're handmade here in the UK by a small business. Absolutely phenomenal bit of kit. So go ahead and do that if you haven't already. 10% off, ships to America, free bag, free customization. Also, check out Morale if you haven't already. My business. I'm going to be at a festival, the British Wild Food Festival. First one I'm going to. I'm going to have a stand, table. I'm going to be there selling Morale. You can come say hi. It's in Shropshire. Very exciting. Also, last thing, because we're over a minute now before we get started. Last thing, I promise. I did a vlog. It came out on Friday. And it was me and my best mate going to the Mac Loop, and it was really fun. I genuinely loved it, and I really want to do more of these vlogs. I want to go to historical places. Me and Jake are going to a castle soon. We're going to be vlogging that. I've got the Bushcraft Festival coming up. I'm going to be vlogging that. There's loads of things I want to vlog, but it needs support because it doesn't get many views. The thing is with YouTube is if you do anything outside of what you do regularly, they just don't support it. They don't push it. They don't support it. So please go and support this stuff. What I'll do is at the end of this video, when it comes up with suggested videos, that's going to be one of them. So if you could go over there and give it some love, that would mean the world to me because, if anything, I'd love to do more of them vlogs. I want to go to ancient battlefields where, you know, Romans had battles and we could go to the field and learn about the history. I'll go up to Scotland and vlog in castles and do some camping and fishing and do all these vlogs that I've been wanting to do when the van's done. The van's going to be done soon. I just want to get out there and vlog with you guys, but it just needs that support. All right, so yeah. Also, we're nearly at 600,000 views, so 600,000 subscribers, which is insane. So get amongst it, guys. Get amongst it.
The ISIS technical pushes through the rubble of a shattered Syrian street, a heavy machine gun mounted in the bed. The fighters behind
it's
it are
always a
confident they're about
Toyota.
to win this block.
It's always a
What they don't
Toyota.
notice is the low hum overhead. By the time the driver looks up, it's already too late.
It's always a white Toyota truck, isn't it? Pickup truck.
What you are about to see most brutal footage ever recorded from the cockpit of the Warthog. Moments where pilots had to make split-second, life or death gambles while flying danger close to their own men. This is the story of the A-10's most violent hour.
Interesting. 1991 Desert Storm. Let's go. Oh, I love me watching
Before
these videos on the
Warthog
weekend.
became the savior of Kobani, it was an underdog that nobody in the Pentagon actually wanted. To understand the
Do you see the Pentagon just released a bunch of UFO files? I love how in 2026, the Pentagon's like, by the way, we think aliens are real. Here's all the UFO files. And everyone's just like, yeah, I can't be asked. Sure, brilliant, yeah. There's so much stuff going on. The news cycle is so quick that no one cares anymore. But, like, that's massive. That's massive. The Pentagon has released UFO footage. And everyone's just like, man, look what Trump's done today. Look what crazy thing he said today. Oh my God, Trump's amazing. Oh my God, Trump's the worst. That's all you get in the news. Meanwhile, the Pentagon's releasing UFO files and everyone's ignoring it. What world are we living in? Mental, innit? Too busy being captivated by unnecessary antics. Let the president just carry on with what he's doing. Let him do what he's doing. Give it a few days without having to have cameras shoved in his face for a minute. It'll give us all a break. Go and check out the UFO stuff. That's what I say. Do you agree with that?
We have to go back to the moment this flying gun first drew blood. January 1991. Saudi Arabia. The runway lights at King Fahd International Airport had been switched off.
It's a nice
and
airport.
Captain Todd Shanghai Shihi was taxiing his A-10 out for his first combat mission with a flashlight. His nose wheel steering wasn't working. The arming crews were in full chemical warfare gear, expecting Iraqi gas attacks at any moment. This was the world's introduction to the Warthog as a combat platform, and nobody, not the Iraqis, not even the U.S. Air Force, had any real idea what was about to happen. The first jaw-drop moment came on February 6, 1991. Captain Robert Swain was patrolling over Kuwait when he spotted something the GAU-8 cannon was never officially designed to kill, an Iraqi BO-105 helicopter, flying low and slow across his airspace. Swain didn't carry an air-to-air missile. He carried what every Warthog pilot carried, a 30mm Gatling gun built to shred tanks. He maneuvered into position, aligned the reticle, and squeezed the trigger. The helicopter came apart in mid-air. It became the A-10's first official air-to-air kill in U.S. Air Force history, recorded with a cannon designed for armor. Then came the slaughter at Khafji. In late January, Saddam Hussein launched a desperate ground offensive into Saudi territory. An Iraqi armored column of more than 100 vehicles, tanks, armored personnel carriers, supply trucks pushed south on a Kuwaiti road. American intelligence picked it up. A-10s were vectored in. What happened next? One of the pilots described in only 2 words: feeding frenzy.
Wow.
The Warthogs hit the lead vehicle and the trail vehicle first, sealing the column on a strip of road with no escape.
It's crazy that these bits of kit are still being used today. They're in Iran, being used today. They've been around this long.
Then they worked the line systematically, each pass dropping 500-pound bombs, Mavericks, or 30mm rounds onto the next target. The Iraqi crews had nowhere to run. By the time the airplanes were out of ammunition and turned home to reload, more than 100 armored vehicles were burning in a single line along that highway.
Wow.
But the most legendary brutality of Desert Storm was still 3 weeks away. February 25th, 1991. Day 2 of the ground war. The skies above Kuwait were black with smoke from burning oil fields. Captain Eric Fish Solomonson, flight lead from the 76th Tactical Fighter Squadron, and his 26-year-old wingman, First Lieutenant John Carl Marks, took off into that hellscape before sunrise. They came across a Republican Guard tank column running its engines hot in the cold dawn air. The infrared seekers on their AGM-65 Mavericks loved hot tank engines. 6 tanks died in the first 10 minutes, 6 Mavericks.
This is like a battle log of every single thing that these Warthogs have done. Like everything they've destroyed.
6
Boom!
clean kills. 2 more vanished
Wow.
under the cannon. Then they landed at a forward strip, refueled, rearmed, and went back up. They flew this same mission 3 times that day.
Wow.
By sunset, between the 2 of them, they had destroyed 23 Iraqi tanks in a single day.
Oh
It is a
my
record
God.
nobody in any Air Force on Earth has ever matched. When the
23
war ended
tanks?
43 days after it started, the official tally credited the A-10 community with destroying nearly 1,000 Iraqi tanks, more than 1,300 combat vehicles, 926 artillery pieces, 53 Scud launchers, and 2
What?
helicopters in air-to-air combat. They
Holy
flew
crap.
8,100 sorties, more than any other coalition aircraft. Their mission-capable rate was 95.7%, but Desert Storm wasn't where the Warthog earned its scariest reputation.
Oh yeah, so that wasn't even its biggest war. That is an insane set of statistics. No wonder it's so this aircraft is so loved by so many people who are into military stuff. I really, do you know? So when we went to the Mac Loop, so as of recording this, it was yesterday when I went to the Mac Loop with my mate, and we didn't see too many aircraft, unfortunately. We're going to be going again quite often, actually. You're never going to see something like an A-10, but it's so random. It's like fishing. Some days you'll go and you might not get anything. The other days you might go and you might get the biggest fish of your life. I want to go to the Mac Loop or something like that one day and just imagine if you just sat there waiting for something, some sort of regular Texan, training aircraft to go past, and all of a sudden an A-10 Warthog goes by and you're like, oh my God, that would be mental.
That happened on a snow-covered mountain in Afghanistan 11 years later.
Anaconda.
March 4th, 2002, Eastern Afghanistan. Before sunrise, a Special Operations MH-47 Chinook helicopter was hovering toward the snow-covered peak of Takur Gur, a 10,469-foot mountaintop that dominated the entire Shahikat Valley. On board was a Navy SEAL team. They were about to land directly on top of an Al-Qaeda fortified position they didn't know existed. Heavy machine gun fire raked the helicopter. An RPG slammed into one engine. The Chinook lurched violently, and Petty Officer First Class Neil Roberts was thrown out the back ramp into the snow. What followed became one of the most catastrophic 17 hours in modern American special operations history.
Wow.
7 men would die on that ridge. AH-64 Apache attack helicopters that came in to support the rescue were torn up by enemy machine guns and RPGs.
Wow.
The C-130 Spectre gunships, the nighttime monsters of the Afghan war, were judged too vulnerable to operate in daylight. F-15Es and B-52s were dropping bombs from altitude, but bombs alone couldn't dig Al-Qaeda fighters out of camouflaged caves and bunkers, not when friendly forces were sometimes 10 meters away from the enemy. Then, somebody finally called the A-10s. The Warthogs came in low over a battlefield where the temperature was below freezing and the elevation was high enough to choke an aircraft engine. They didn't stop coming for the rest of the operation. The titanium armor around the cockpit was rated to absorb 23mm armor-piercing rounds, the same caliber the Soviets had used to shoot down so many fast jet pilots in Vietnam.
So that must be like some sort of encasing around the bottom part of the pilot. Apparently this is like a really, really impressive design, that they've got this in there. And it's unique as well. It's not very often you see this type of stuff, especially in modern aircraft.
It worked exactly as advertised. After Anaconda, the Air Force did something it had never done before. It permanently forward deployed 6 A-10s to Bagram Air Base. The reason was unspoken, but obvious. When high-tech systems and faster jets couldn't survive the threat environment, the slow, ugly, armored Warthog could. For the
Don't
next
say
decade,
it's ugly.
A-10s ran daily close air
Don't say it's ugly. It's beautiful in its own way. It's beautiful in its own way.
support over Afghanistan. There's a story from 75th Expeditionary Fighter Squadron pilot Captain Aaron Cavazos covering a SEAL team and Army Rangers in the mountains. His master caution panel lit up after a gun pass. His left engine RPM dropped under 20. The power plant was destroyed. He flew the Warthog home anyway on one engine, exactly the way the engineers 3 decades earlier had built it to do.
Damn.
But the most graphic A-10 footage in U.S. Air Force history wasn't filmed in Afghanistan. It was filmed over Baghdad.
Wow. 2003.
Captain Kim Campbell was one of only about 50 women fighter pilots in the entire United States Air Force. Her call sign was Killer Chick. Painted
Killer
on the
Chick.
inside of her A-10's entry ladder was a cartoon of a chicken with crosshairs over it. By the end of the morning of April 7th, 2003, she would understand exactly why someone had given her that name. It was the 4th day of the brutal Battle of Baghdad. Coalition troops had reached city, but they were still
Can I just say, this video's sick. This video's so good. Coming from such a small channel, go and give Battlelog some love. There's a link down below to the original video. Go give him some love, because this video is really enjoyable.
fighting. Campbell and her flight lead, Lieutenant Colonel Rick Bino Turner, were originally tasked with hitting a group of Iraqi tanks acting as a Republican Guard command post. But on the way to the target, an urgent call came in from a forward air controller embedded with U.S. Army troops in downtown Baghdad. Friendlies were taking heavy fire. The forward air controller turned out to be a member of Campbell's own squadron. She peeled off her original target package and dove toward the city. Multiple low-altitude gun and rocket passes ripped through the streets below her. Iraqi forces took heavy casualties. The friendlies on the ground got the first room to breathe they'd had all morning.
Nice.
Then, on her last rocket pass, as Campbell was banking off target, something tore through the back of her jet.
Ooh.
The explosion was massive. The aircraft pitched violently left and pointed itself nose first at the rooftops of Baghdad. Every warning light in the cockpit was screaming. The control stick was dead in her hand. She had 2 seconds to choose between 2 impossible options: eject directly into a hostile enemy-controlled city of 11 million people, or save an airplane that no longer wanted to fly. She chose the airplane. She flipped the switch into manual reversion, a backup flight control system of steel cables, cranks, and pulleys built for exactly this kind of impossible day.
What?
The Warthog responded. Slowly, painfully, she dragged the nose up and away from Baghdad. Lieutenant Colonel Turner pulled alongside and looked at her tail. He told her over the radio she had hundreds of small holes punched through the right side of her fuselage. A football-sized hole was blown clean through her right horizontal stabilizer.
Oh my
Both
God.
hydraulic systems were destroyed. One engine had taken serious damage.
She's lucky to be alive. Let's be honest. She's lucky to be alive from that. All it takes is one round hitting. I know she's got that protection around her, but all it takes is one round to get through something, to hit through something. That's horrendous.
She flew the broken jet for the next hour, more than 300 miles back to Al Jaber Air Base in
Holy
Kuwait,
shit.
working flight controls the engineering manual officially called exceptionally demanding for landing. When she touched down, 3 wheels on the runway, no ejection necessary, Turner radioed something
Wow.
that became legend in the A-10 community. He told her she just landed a crippled aircraft better than he lands a healthy one. When the maintenance crew counted the holes in her airplane, they stopped counting at 150. She
my
received
God.
the Distinguished Flying Cross.
Good on her.
The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Richard Myers, personally cited her at the Air Force Academy as one of the very few pilots who has ever landed an A-10 in manual mode.
Wow.
The very next morning, less than 24 hours after almost dying over Baghdad, she climbed into a different Warthog and flew a search and rescue mission for another downed pilot over the same airspace where she'd nearly bought it the day before. That
What?
was 2003. The Warthog wasn't done writing graphic combat footage, not even close.
What an absolute beast. 24 hours later, she's like, yeah, just get me another one. I'm going back in. No biggie. Just landed that manual. I could get another one. Let's go. Let's do it again. What the hell? Some people are just built different, aren't they? Like mentally just built different.
October 6th, 2014. The city of Kobani sits directly on the Turkish border in northern Syria, a small Kurdish majority town surrounded on 3 sides by ISIS-held territory.
That's not
The
good.
Islamic State had spent that summer steamrolling across Iraq and Syria, beheading prisoners on camera, executing civilians in mass graves, parading captured American military equipment through the streets of Mosul. They had
Holy.
armored technicals, captured Humvees, heavy machine guns, mortars, and an estimated 2,000 fighters massing for the assault on Kobani. Inside the city, lightly armed Kurdish YPG defenders were running out of ammunition and falling back. There were no fortified bases and safe areas, just lightly armed fighters dug into apartment buildings, shattered
There's a nice little stack there, wasn't it? Rear-facing individual, keeping an eye on the rear flank. Nice nudge. Everyone moves in right order. Nice little bit of CQV there, wasn't it? You see that?
streets and rubble-filled alleyways, trying to hold the line against an enemy that had already overrun cities 10 times Kobani's size. This wasn't an open desert tank battle like Khafji. This was urban combat at point-blank range. ISIS fighters were inside the building, sometimes meters from the people defending them. American
Oh,
air
you're getting
power
a
had
kid out
been
of there.
hammering ISIS targets across the region for weeks. But Kobani was different. Hit the wrong window with a guided bomb and you'd kill the very people you were trying to save. Then, a familiar growl came in over the burning rooftops. A single A-10 Warthog checked in on the radio. A joint terminal attack controller, pinned down on the ground with the Kurdish fighters, watching the enemy advance through doorways meters from his own position, began calling targets. The radio chatter from those nights still circulates online, and it's almost surreal in its calmness. The pilot rolling in could see muzzle flashes in window frames, technicals racing across intersections.
That's why you stay away from windows when you're shooting. Even if you're shooting through a window, get to the back of the room and shoot through the window. You see muzzle flashes, you see all sorts of stuff. Why things are seen, basic stuff. Don't go to the window. Look through the window from a distance. Basic stuff.
ISIS fighters sprinting from cover to cover. Bombs were too dangerous. There was only one weapon precise enough to use this close to friendlies.
Look, can we just look at this shot right now? Look at that bit of kit right there. Pure beauty. Also, looking through the cockpit right here, these two massive metal pieces here must be a nightmare. Size them two metal massive right in front of you as well. That must be a nightmare, that.
The pilot dove the airplane straight at the street. The first burst tore through a column of ISIS fighters in their technicals as they pushed forward toward the Kurdish line. The pilot pulled up hard, climbed, came back around. ISIS adapted, broke into smaller groups, hugged the walls. The Warthog adjusted, came in lower and faster. The Avenger ripped through firing positions, walked rounds along the street with surgical precision while keeping the line clear of friendly forces meters away. Walls collapsed. Cover disappeared. Coordinated assaults disintegrated before they even fully began. Tracer rounds from heavy machine guns reached up from the rooftops. The aircraft took several hits, all systems still green. Fuel was burning fast. A relief A-10 was minutes away, but minutes mattered. If this pilot left now, the city might fall in the gap. So he stayed past bingo fuel and rode in one more time, breaking a coordinated ISIS push that would have overrun the defenders.
So working with British there.
Warthog finally checked in on the radio. The handoff was almost casual. Targets, friendlies, danger areas. One sentence. They're counting on you.
I think, if anything, these bits of information, these stories, these snippets of these stories, just, if anything, not only do they show how amazing the Warthog is, they show how efficient and how well trained the US Air Force actually is in their ability to adapt in, firstly, hostile environments, obviously, and secondly, able to adapt and change plan within seconds and make them fast decisions as quick as you possibly can. Not many people can do that. I could have never been I don't think I could have been a pilot. I just think that I need a moment to think about things sometimes. I take a bit of a condor moment, if you know what that means. A moment where you kind of just sit back and just have a think about things. Because I like to assess and try and come up with the best plan. These guys can't do that. They have to instantly think of what's the best, option to them at that exact moment. Insane decision making.
Next 4 months, A-10s and other coalition aircraft kept ISIS pinned inside Kobani's outskirts. Estimates of enemy dead inside the city ran into the thousands. By the time the Islamic State finally retreated in January 2015, the Battle of Kobani had become the moment the world realized ISIS could be stopped, in one of the most graphically documented air campaigns in modern combat history. Cockpit footage from those months remains some of the most watched A-10 video on the internet. Kobani held. ISIS did not. And the airplane that turned the tide was the same one the Pentagon had been trying to retire for over a decade.
And they're still trying to retire it, but it's in Iran right now. Wow. Epic Fury, here we go.
Now, less than a month ago, Operation Epic Fury, the U.S. military campaign against Iran, had been escalating for weeks. American jets were striking Iranian naval vessels, drone bases, and IRGC positions across the country.
Mental.
The war was modern. Hypersonic missiles, stealth fighters, networked sensors, drone swarms. And somehow, in the middle of all that 21st century technology, the 50-year-old A-10 Warthog was right back in the middle of the fight.
Crazy.
At 4:40 a.m. local time, a U.S. Air Force F-15E Strike Eagle, call sign Dude 44, was hit by an Iranian shoulder-fired heat-seeking missile over southwestern Iran. Both crew members ejected into hostile territory. The pilot came down in Khuzestan province. The weapons systems officer landed miles away in the rugged Zagros.
We know the story, but the Warthog was there. Crazy, right?
Mountains. They were alone, behind enemy lines in a country actively hunting them, with the Iranian Revolutionary Guard offering a $60,000 bounty on each man.
Wow.
What followed was one of the largest combat search and rescue operations in U.S. military history. According to President Donald Trump's later White House briefing, the recovery effort eventually involved 155 aircraft, flying directly above the downed pilot in a role the A-10 community calls Sandy, were 10 A-10 Sea Thunderbolt the twos. Their job was simple: get between the
The job was simple. Be amazing. Get the rounds down.
survivors and the enemy. Suppress everything that moves with the cannon until rescue helicopters can pull the airmen out.
And they did.
Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff General Dan Kane described what the Warthogs did on the ground that morning in graphic terms. They were violently engaging Iranian forces in close quarters, fighting to keep them away from the downed pilot, rolling in repeatedly with the Avenger while the rescue choppers came in low over the desert. One Warthog took serious fire during the operation. The pilot kept fighting until the survivor was secured, then nursed the wounded jet out into Kuwaiti airspace and ejected. He was rescued safely. The aircraft was lost.
With that being said, we're near the end of this video now, but I want to throw a question out. Considering this was used in Operation Epic Fury, when do you think this will retire? When do you think it will get put into retirement? Obviously, it's being downgraded now. The cost of maintenance is probably quite high. But do you think it's got another 5-10 years in it? I think it could have another 5 years minimum. 10? Maybe.
Both F-15E crew members made it home alive. A few weeks later, on April 20th, 2026, Secretary of the Air Force Troy Mank announced that the A-10 will continue flying through 2030, extending an aircraft the Pentagon had once planned to retire by the end of fiscal year 2029.
So, okay, if he says till 2030, that means it's definitely going to last. I mean, that's 4 years from now. But it'll definitely last another 5 then. I think it could be here 10 years later.
The reason was unspoken but obvious. They had just watched it do, one more time, the thing nothing else in the inventory can do.
Yeah.
After ISIS, Iraq, Afghanistan, and after every newer, faster, stealthier replacement that was supposed to make the Warthog obsolete, the Hog still has work to do. The footage in this video isn't graphic because of the explosions. The US military has bigger explosions in nuclear silos. It isn't graphic because of the body counts either. Bombers and drones rack up bigger numbers without anyone in the cockpit. What makes A-10 footage hit different is what you can hear in the background of every clip. You can hear the men on the ground when they realize, for the first time in hours, that they are not going to die.
Yeah.
You can hear the deep, ripping growl of the Avenger, and you can see the dust where someone's life ended a half-second earlier. That is why every infantry soldier who was ever called for close air support would tell you the same thing. The most beautiful sight in war is a pair of A-10s rolling in.
That's why what he was saying earlier about calling it ugly. You can't call it ugly. It's a beautiful bit of kit.
Get this far, you understand something most people never will. The A-10 isn't just an airplane. It's a promise that no matter how dark it gets, help is coming.
Yeah.
Is the Hog an immortal legend or a relic? Share your verdict below.
Absolutely fantastic video by Battle Log. Again, I've not seen this video before. I've not seen this channel before. I don't think I have anyway. A brand new channel, in my opinion. They've only got 41 videos. So they've been around for about a month. Which is remarkable. Yeah, let me show you. This is the channel right here. I'm going to leave a link down below. Go give it a subscribe. There are 8,000 subscribers. Let's get them to 10,000 minimum. Let's get them to 10,000, guys. Let's send over a bunch of people over there. Let's boost up their channel because that was a really, really well put together video. Very, very impressive, and I really enjoyed it. Link down below to the original video. Check out Chug if you haven't already, and go check out Morale as well. If you notice, there'll be videos popping up right now suggested. Probably some for Morale and all this other stuff. Go check out the vlog. One of them says the Mac Loop. Go check it out. I really enjoyed it with me, mate. It was a bunch of fun, and I really want to make them vlogs a big thing, so please go check it out. Other than that, I love you all. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.